it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today is an Inspired Create Challenge Day, and the theme, because it's a theme day, is party, celebration. No, it's party. It's party or celebrate. It's one or the other. They're the same thing for me. If you're having a party, you're normally celebrating something, and this is the project that I have done for this challenge. It's wonderful because it folds flat. You do need to make a separate envelope for it, which your envelope punch board would be great for that, but it folds flat for posting, and then when the recipient gets it, it's all lovely and pops up. And you've got all these lovely baubles, so I'm picking up the bauble paper from the All Is Bright Designer Series paper. So let me show you how to make it and what I have used. First things first, I have used I now can't find it, of course, that's because I've put it here safely. I have used the Merry Christmas to All stamp set. Well, actually, I haven't used the stamp set. I have just used the Merry Christmas dies. So I've used Christmas and Merry, and I have cut those in both the cardstock and in the gold foil. Now I'm going to make a slightly different version this time. This uses Cherry Cobbler cardstock. The All Is Bright Sweet has both Cherry Cobbler and Real Red. So this time I'm going to use Real Red. Although having said that, I've just realised that I have die cut Cherry Cobbler. So ignore that, I'm going to use Cherry Cobbler again because I've already prepped. Just not my brain apparently, just for a change. So there we are, Cherry Cobbler cardstock. But you could use Real Red. So this is a scoreboard project, and I'm using the metric board. And it's very simple. You put your piece of cardstock into your scoreboard with the fat end at the top. So this is what I would call landscape. And you just go 7, 14, 21, and 28 centimetres. I have not done an inch conversion, although looking at it, 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4, and 11 would seem about right. So let me write those down while I forget. Before I forget. So that's 2 3/4. Don't you love when I prep things? 5 1/2. I have actually prepped quite a lot. 8 1/4 and 11 inches. And then, so it's my notes, then we turn it onto the portrait, and this is where I need to just have a quick look at my original and refresh my memory. Okay, so we need to go, we're going to go at 7 centimetres or 2 3/4 inches, but we're only going, I need to get this right, we're going down to the third, we're only doing to the third section, and then, it's going to be difficult to show you this, I think probably what I'll need to do is flip it over and just then mark where you're continuing. So you have got this section here that you have not scored, and then at 14 centimetres you can go all the way down, and this is then going to be where we cut. So we're scoring to the third score line at 7 and all the way down at 14. So, don't you love it when these things come together? I certainly do. So, this bit we're actually going to cut away. Now you can use your trimmer or you can use scissors. I'm going to use my trimmer because I've got it here and I can, and it will be quicker in the long run. So I'm just going to line up my score line. Now obviously you could use your trimmer the whole way through anyway, So it's just, you can use your metric score plate or indeed your imperial one. So grab my bone folder and start burnishing. So we're going to burnish that, and so there and there and there. Now we are not going to burnish this line just yet. We are, however, going to burnish these because we're going to need these. We will trim those down a bit, but we are going to need them. Now I've brought in a larger pair of scissors purely because I need to do some quite long cuts. You need to decide whether you're going to have your back that way around or that way around. Doesn't really matter, but just this is your back piece. So you can either cut up or down, doesn't matter which. I'm going to cut with my back piece to my left, but you can cut with your back piece to your right if you would rather. So you're just cutting up your score lines to that middle line, and then again cut up your score lines to that middle line and no further. And then, so these are going to be our flaps. I want to get rid of this bit, so I'm going to cut in. No, I'm going to cut in that way. What am I doing? So I'm going to cut straight and then wedge out and then cut away this piece. Don't you love it when your brain's in gear? I'm filming this fairly early on a Monday morning, and I've been away on a course at the weekend at a training course on all sorts of exciting stuff, like, you know, blog posting and all sorts of great stuff. And my brain is just full of so much information that I can hardly contain my brain. So we're then going to be able to burnish these flaps because those are now cut away. Now this piece, we kind of want concertina, so you don't need to be terribly accurate with your cut lines because we just want two, although what I am then going to do is trim a little bit off the bottom because I don't want them to be quite as tall. So again, I'm going to cut and then trim, and these are then going to be the bits that go in there. But just cutting them down a wee bit means it's going to be easier to make it all neat and tidy, and we do like neat and tidy. Obviously you can keep your scraps. So let us grab some tear and tape and some snail. That looks horribly like it's going to run out, but never mind. So on these pieces here we are going to stick our baubles, and on the bits underneath we're going to stick our other pattern, and I've chosen one of the greenery patterns. So these squares are going to need 3 squares of each of the designer series papers cut, or patterns cut at 6.5 centimetres. So if we're working to 2 3/4, I would say 2.5 inches. Yep, 2.5 inches. So if you're doing imperial, do 2.5. If you're doing metric, then 6.5. So, and just stick these on, and these actually are just bits of scrap that I had. So it's a great way of using up some of the smaller bits of designer series paper you've got. And as we're at that sort of stage on Christmas of using up the scraps, why not? Right, so this panel here, we're going to put a larger piece, preferably with the baubles hanging in the right direction. So again, this is 6.5 centimetres by, I want to say 13.5. Don't worry about dimensions, they will all be on the blog post, which is linked in the description bar immediately below this video. So don't worry about that, it's all done for you. Right, so this then just pops on here. And then these pieces we want actually that way up because they're going to flop down. So if you look at this, we've got this pattern is the right way up, and then these, were they flat, the pattern would be upside down. So we just need to remember that for the panels, this is the top and this is the bottom. So again, these are the same size, so 6.5 centimetres or 2.5 inches. And then just pop these on here. And then we can build our baubles up and stick on our Happy Christmas. Now I'm actually going to stick my Happy Christmas on. I may regret this. I'm going to stick my Happy Christmas on before I stick the box together. I think it's going to be easier, having done it the other way round before. Just saying. Right, so our Happy Christmas is going to come out this side. I have already die cut, and on one of them I have already stuck everything together. So there's our Christmas, and then I've got Happy cut in both the foil, sorry, not the foil, the glimmer and the basic cardstock. And I've put the multi-purpose sheet on the back of the glimmer paper, because then this becomes a sticker, which makes sticking everything together a whole load easier, particularly if you can get rid of the little bits that inevitably hang about. So I'm just going to offset this very slightly. Now you could use your liquid adhesive, your multi-purpose liquid adhesive for this, but I just thought I would use the multi-purpose sheet instead. So it's as simple as that. And if I pop it on there, you can see there's just a little bit of a shadow. Now, having said multi-purpose liquid adhesive, you do need that for this bit. So the Happy will more or less fit on the top of the box. There's going to be a little bit coming off the side, and the top of the H is going to come off. So I'm just going to pop teeny weeny little dots, of glue on the bits that are going to stick to the box. It's there. And then just remember that the Y isn't going to stick to the box, that's coming off the edge. You don't need a huge amount of this, it's a good glue. So I'll just, let's see, the bottom of the Y will probably stay on, and let's just pop a piece. Come on, there we go, a little bit there. So then using the bit that's not got glue all over it, she says, hopefully, I'm just going to pop that at a sort of jaunty-ish angle, just there, and then just press that down, and then do the same again with my Christmas. So I am going to have the swirl coming off this edge, so I can go up to the T with my adhesive again. So, avoiding the swirl, got the shakes this morning, and I don't know why. Possibly because it was a busy weekend. Possibly because I've not had enough coffee. I did have rather a lot of coffee yesterday because it was a busy, busy weekend. So it may be that I'm in caffeine withdrawal symptoms. Whoops. So just pop that there, and you can just get that CH nudging into that hole there, which is quite a nice little look, and then just press all that down. Now I am going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to put a block over the top just to help hold everything together, because I then want to do my baubles. Now the baubles are very simple. They're just using circle punches. You could use dies if you've got dies. I've just picked 3 circle punches. So I have picked the 3/4, the 1 inch and the 1 1/4 inch circle punch. And I've also pulled out the bulb builder, which is carrying over And then all I've done is with some scraps of foil and glimmer paper. I've got gold foil, I've got gold glimmer, champagne foil, and somewhere I've got gold foil as well. There we are, gold foil. I have done some prep because I don't think there's going to be anything more boring than watching me stick things together. There is a limit. So I then had a scrap of the galvanized sheet, and I've just used the bottom of the bulb builder punch, and I just fed that through and just went punch, 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 punch to punch out lots of tops of bulbs, which could also be the dangly bit from a bauble. And then with my apparently invisible there we are, mini glue dots, all I've done is taken one of the bauble, the punch builder bottoms, bulb punch builder bottoms, stick fold a glue dot in half, and then just attach that to one of your circles. So it's as simple as that. So I'm going to clear the decks a bit of punches, and then, right, now I have got some window sheet, and again this is cut at, I want to say, let's see, I've written it down, I've got a piece cut at 3 centimetres by 6.5, a piece cut at larger than I need, apparently. That's 6.5 inches square. And then I've got, is it 6.5 inches square? Anyway, a smaller piece. And then I've just got some 6.5 centimetre length little strips. And basically I just cut those off this piece. This is going to be too big, but we can push it down a bit. And these pieces are going to be used for these ones that stick out the side. So, not that I think any of that really made sense. The first thing to do is the piece at the front, and all I have done is, she says, just checking, yes. All I have done is taken some of my baubles, popped a glue dot on, and then popped them onto, actually I want to come in a bit, onto the window sheet. Now, the key to this is to not have them sticking out to the side too much, because it's going to stop you not sticking on. That's better. It's going to stop you tucking your window sheet into your box. It will become apparent, I hope, when I have got to that point. So, that's, where are we time-wise? 18 minutes. Okay, we are sort of nearly there, she says in a hopeful sense. Right, so I need a little gold, which of course I haven't prepped a bottom for a little gold. Let's get or a top, depending on how you look at it. So another bulb, and I just flick them up and then pick them up, and then there's a little gold circle, and attach that and pop that in the space. So that's one piece. Then we need the trouble with window sheet is it's invisible. We need our next sheet. So again, let's pop some of these on. And again, I'm not coming over the edge too far. And another one. And I think I probably want one of these, but with a top on it. Pop that there. Grab a top. And, whoops, yep. Pop that there. And then we can actually come in from behind. So I'm going to hopefully stick that, yep, we can pop that in from behind and I think I want a larger one. Again, come in from behind. And another top. Pick it up and pop that on. So that's that piece. Whoops, it would be if I'd actually stuck the piece of glue dot. Trouble with glue dots is they're invisible, so you can't see if you've picked them up. Right, and then these I'm just going to stick a glue dot. Actually, I'll pop two on there, and pop that just there, so that's well held. And again, I'll actually do it the other way around with this one. We'll take bottom and top, and one of our bits of window sheet, and then one last one. And our window sheet. So those are now ready to go. So next thing to do is a bit of tear and tape, and I'm going to pop this on the bottom of my window sheet here, and then another piece just above it, because this is kind of vital to keep this stuck well. Bring back my box. And so this piece is going to stick here. So I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to put the box sort of together-ish. And then add the other bits. So I think we'll get rid of that. So we're just popping this so that the bottom of the baubles hits, or at least, you know, most of them, hits the fold of the card. Yeah. Then this we're going to fold round, so we need some tear and tape on this. I've done it wrong, haven't I? Whoops. Okay. Don't you love it when I go wrong as well? So let's take this off. Dum dum dum. Okay, fortunately this is not going to be seen because it's on the inside of our box. Right, who knew that that was coming? Who knew? I didn't. It's because my brain's not with us today. Right, I can stick over that. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? So, where are we on the time? 23 minutes. I'm just going to adjust the focus a teeny bit so that hopefully it will... Oh no, it still thinks that I've only got 6 minutes left. That's fine. So, let's do that again. So we're going to stick some tear and tape onto our window sheet. Tidy that up a bit. Take our tear and tape off our window sheet. Don't you love it? Now, we want this to line up to this panel here. There we go. That's what I meant in the first place. Right, tear and tape here. Now you could use multi-purpose liquid adhesive for this bit, although it's, yep, I think it's probably easier to use the tear and tape. Particularly if your brain's in gear, my good grief. Come along. There we go. 1 and 2. And then this will just fold over there. It will, it will, it will, it will. And then that's our basic box, and we've now of course got things sticking to the back of it. Right, so these bits are going to just slip in. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some more tear and tape. And for the sake of speed, I'm only going to put one piece on each flap. I highly recommend 2, but yeah. So 1, 2, and you want them so that they're a Z. Then one of these I'm going to stick my panel to, and again I'm going to use tear and tape. This is why I say this is actually too long. I am going to stick it up a wee bit because this piece is going to be covered by the front. So let's just choose where that's going, and again, and how are we doing? 4 minutes! No! And then this I'm going to stick in the middle, would be nice. There we go. So that's going to go like that, and then this piece will have the little bits stuck on, but we'll do that when we've got the box fitted together. So the next thing to go in is this piece. So pull your bits of paper off your tear and tape, and then this is going to hold one of your pieces out of the way, well, in fact both of your pieces out of the way, but you want one of them that's coming to the front to line up against that front crease. Don't know if you can see that, but let's hold that piece out of the way. So I've lined the front of this up to the crease, and then all I'm going to do is flatten my box with the other flap sticking out flat, so that's then like that. And then we're going to do the same again with this one. Now, if you want any of these products, they are available on my online store, so do just hop over to that. There's a link to that immediately below. So that's really easy. If you're shopping with me, if you use the host code, that would be great. And if you use the host code, then you get to share in the host rewards. And those come out in the middle of the kind of next month. But I do like to share my host rewards out. Right, so I need my glue dots again, and all I'm going to do is pop a couple of glue dots onto the window sheet, and then just pop these out the side to just get a bit more dimension coming out. I might pop that one. No, I'll pop that one there because it's decided that's where it's going. So that's where we'll have it. And then this one I can pop out the side, hopefully. So this one will have out the side there. So there we are. That is our fold flat bauble box. Happy Christmas! So there's the original. There's the one that we made in spite of the fact that I had a few boo-boos along the way. It's worked! Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Hope you managed to persevere to the end. As I say, the dimensions will be over on my blog, which is linked immediately below. Sorry, this is a really long video. It's quite a complicated project. Do have a go at entering the Inspire Create Challenge. We'd love seeing your projects. And I hope you have a good day. As I say, when you want to buy any of these products, hop over to my online store and don't forget to use my host code. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye!